Yesterday turned out to be a bit of a whirlwind as the day started with rumors that the Steelers were interested in trading for Brandon Aiyuk. And then in that same day, Brandon Aiyuk tweets directly at the head coach of the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, talking about how they look alike. And boy, you already know that sent the internet into a tizzy in regards to trying to understand what it all means. But as we've already heard from many people, including myself, on what we think it could be, we hear from Mike Florio and Chris Sims today on the topic. And my ears perk up just a little bit when I hear Chris Sims talking about the San Francisco 49ers, because as we know, it's been well documented. Chris Sims, Kyle Shanahan, best bros. They got matching ankle tattoos. These guys are locked in. So I'm always curious about his takes on things. And we know he's tapped in and he's got he could call up anyone if he wanted to. So it's very curious to listen about how he perceives this whole situation with Brandon Aiyuk. So take a listen right here as he kind of goes back and forth about this whole Brandon Aiyuk situation and how it could actually take a turn. Take a listen right here.
But hey, Mike, let me just to change the subject here just a little bit, because I think this is something to watch out for, and not changing it totally. But the Aiyuk situation with San Francisco, I think that has a chance to be a real pain in the ass for the 49ers. I really do. You know, again, he's tweeting out things to another coach right now. I mean, does that tell you that he's ready to? He wants to be paid. He wants something aggressive. I mean, that's like I said, he's looking at it going, wait. I'm better than Deebo Samuel, right? The 49ers also got to be a little bit like, when we play really good defenses with man-to-man corners like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, Deebo Samuel can't get open, right? That's the Deebo Samuel knock right now. That when you play teams that got really good corners and can play man-to-man, he can't separate that way. Aiyuk is their separation guy. He is their guy. We need a big play against the Lions in the NFC Championship game. Throw it deep to Aiyuk. He's that guy, right? He's the guy that Shanahan, I know this, he values route runners. He always has. Aiyuk is a very good route runner. He can do all the intricate little routes that Shanahan's deemed so necessary in his offense. So that's where I look at that one there and go, I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out, where this goes, because this has a feel of a guy that's going, I don't want my fifth-year option, and I should be making top tier of the market type of money as a number one receiver, and I don't know if the 49ers can make that happen. That's what I'm going to be interested to see, Mike.
And even though he was taken in the 20s and wouldn't have gotten gigantic money pre-rookie wage scale, the whole idea of this is we transformed the system to make sure that the busts don't take off with a bunch of money. The guys who get drafted in round one and turn into great players need to get paid. After their third year, ideally. After their fourth year, definitely. I don't think it's fair to expect guys to play on that fifth-year option. And if there was one thing that I was going to reasonably try to change if I'm the NFLPA, it's to get rid of that fifth-year option altogether. If you're a first-round pick, if you're picked in any round, it should be a 4-year commitment. There should not be an ability to squat on that guy for a fifth year and deny him the long-term deal that he has earned. If you want to use the franchise tag, fine. Keep your franchise tag. You're never going to give it up anyway. But why do you need to have a fifth-year option on a first-round pick? Why are guys punished by being first-round picks? It's better to be the first pick in round two than the last pick in round one.
Right.
Because the first pick in round two isn't strapped by the fifth-year option. If anything, the fifth-year option should only be available for like the top 5 guys who get a lot more money than the rest of the round. The guys at the bottom of the round get screwed by the fifth-year option.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's another one. It's BS, and I hope that's one where the NFLPA and the next negotiation can look at that and go, oh, no, we got to take that away. That's not right for our players. It doesn't. And again, like you talk about, it's the most physical team sport in the world. And, just for a bunch of owners who don't want to risk very much and not want to take chances themselves, they love to throw guys out there and go, hey, roll the dice on yourself for your future and in your economic future and security. And, we both hate that. We both do.
Well, and look, they've set the precedent. Look how Deebo Samuel got his deal after 3 NFL seasons, going into the 4th and final year of his rookie deal because he wasn't a first-round pick.
Exactly.
All that stuff from a couple of years ago.
Right.
And remember, they're going through the club, and somebody was holding the sign about Deebo Samuel stays with the 49ers. He's doing this.
Yeah.
And it was clear. I mean, he did what he had to do to get paid.
Yep.
And this may be the first little venture, the first little pebble in the pond by Brandon Aiyuk to just start to make waves aimed at getting him the contract that he deserves. And you may get some angry messages from Kyle Shanahan, but he probably knows it too. He's probably working against some people in the organization. I'm just guessing here. The coach wants what the coach wants, but you got the bean counters who want to count beans in a certain way and make sure that, they take full advantage of their rights. It's all about the collective bargaining agreement gives us a series of rights and responsibilities, and we take full advantage of those rights, and we have the right to employ him this year at $14.12 million, and we intend to exercise that right. Fine. He intends to exercise his rights too.
Yeah.
And he's got the right to go on X and start up a conversation with Mike Tomlin.
Right.
And maybe slide into his DMs at some point, as the kids say. So,
look at you. You're all cool and stuff. I know. Well, hey, listen, the 49ers is going to be interesting to see what they do. Again, when you say it out loud, right, you start to go, right, they're getting to that point where they've been so good for a period of time here where they got a lot of high-praised contracts. I mean, they got the highest paid running back in football. They got the highest paid left tackle in football. They got, one of the highest paid tight ends in football. Deebo Samuel's up there at wide receiver, right? They got Fred Warner's the highest paid linebacker in football. You got Javon Hargrave, who's one of the highest paid D tackles in football. And you got Nick Bosa, who is the highest paid defensive end in football. I mean, how many guys can you pay? At what point do you start to go, wait, we're sacrificing the full roster and depth on the roster and a little leeway and security here and there to be very top heavy? And that's where the 49ers, hey, it's rich people problems, right? But at the same time, they're problems nonetheless, and they're certainly in that right now.
And always fascinating by Chris Sims' takes on the 49ers. I kind of listen in a little bit closer. It's does he know something? You talking to Kyle Sims? What's the deal here? But I think, they talked about and they kind of went through all the different scenarios that the 49ers have to navigate here. Is one of these scenarios is, this isn't normal. As much as people try to normalize Brandon Aiyuk tweeting at Mike Tomlin, that's it's not a normal thing. And we understand what it is and why it is, at least if you use common sense to evaluate the situation. And so we're just waiting to see what's going to go down and how it's ultimately going to progress. And obviously, the outcome that the 49er faithful want is for Brandon Aiyuk to get paid and be a Niner for a long time. And with the team control that he's under, that is probably going to be the case, unless something happens. So that's the big question mark that no one knows about, right? That's kind of what everyone's debating. That's what everyone's trying to make sense of. And so ultimately, it's just coming down to we got to wait and see. And I think they do a good job of kind of contextualizing the whole situation and just being listen, for it to be at this point already, we saw what happened immediately after the Super Bowl and where it's going. There's a good chance that something could happen, but there's also a good chance Brandon Aiyuk could return on a multi-year deal, and that's hopefully what the 49ers get. I don't want to see a situation, for either side where the 49ers get into training camp, we get through the draft, no trade occurs, we get into camp, no contract, and there becomes this situation where the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk are going back and forth about playing on the 5th-year option. And that is an outcome that could happen. That is a scenario that does exist, and we'll have to see if it comes to that. But I think the bottom line is this is going to be a situation that has to be monitored. We'll see. Again, it's the NFL, so anything can happen. There's no guarantee anything will happen. And I think if you want to try to find some kind of peace in this situation, is that we got time. The draft isn't for about another month and a half. So I don't expect anything really to happen up until that point, like in regards to a potential move. I would assume if a trade were to go down, it would be around the draft. And if they get through the draft, I expect Brandon Aiyuk to be on the San Francisco 49ers, and I expect them to ink a long-term deal. That's just really what it comes down to. So within the next month and a half, we could see some more social media stuff. We could see some more posturing. So just be prepared, and we will continue to discuss and talk about it accordingly. But until that point comes, let me know what you guys think about what Sims and Florio had to say in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.